A quick note. Some of the stories featured in Midwest Weird have elements of horror and may touch on trauma, mental health, and other tough topics. Take care when listening. This is Midwest Weird, an audio literary magazine from Broads and Books Productions. We're the home of weird fiction and nonfiction by Midwestern writers. Today's episode, a nonfiction piece by Sam Sharp, titled Drug Test, read by the author.
Drug test. There are 35 questions on this test. After listening to each question, write T for true or F for false on a separate piece of paper. Listen to each question carefully. Respond truthfully. Question 1. I do drugs. True or false? 2. I don't do drugs, but if I did, I would do weed. 3. I don't do weed. Nobody does weed, but if I did, I would do edibles. 4. I don't do edibles, but if I did, I would take a 10 milligram gummy, sprawl it on the carpet, and sink into the beanbag of my thoughts. Like, why do I dislike the sound of my own voice? Does anyone like the sound of their own voice? Could you be a DJ if you disliked your own voice? 5. I wouldn't take an edible or a sprout on the carpet and sink into the beanbag of my thoughts, but if I did, I'd invariably enter an awkward conversation with my roommate because, well, I'm high. 6. I get awkward when I'm high. 7. I don't get awkward when I'm high, but I also don't get, any smoother. 8. I've been arrested for getting high. 9. I've been arrested for smoking weed. 10. I've been arrested for possessing small quantities of weed. 11. I was arrested for possessing a small quantity of weed at my town's fair when I was 14 years old. A bald police officer pressed my 2 accomplices and I against a wall while sirens flashed, and parents and teachers watched in pity and disgust. The cop had tailed us on a bicycle. Later, he informed my parents that he aimed to, quote, teach us a lesson. 12. I was not arrested for carrying weed at my town's fair when I was 14 years old, but if I was, I would not have learned any lessons. "13. I do meth. 14. I don't do meth, but if I did, it might be because I live in Mount Vernon, Ohio. 15. I do not live in Mount Vernon, but if I did, I'd be closer to old friends. 16. Then I'd end up doing meth in an attempt to escape. 17. I'm always wishing I could escape to someplace else. Someplace mountainous and wild with lots of sunshine and deep snow. Someplace like Colorado. 18. Everyone in Ohio talks about moving to Colorado. 19. 2 years ago, I moved to Wyoming. Now, I would never live in Colorado. But I'm still looking for something. 20. I don't know what exactly I'm looking for, but I keep moving in search of it. 21. I'm tired of moving every 2 years. 22. It's not that I'm tired of moving, I'm just tired of my relationships withering every 2 years and struggling to establish new ones. Relationships that are even half as genuine and free as what I have with my friends back home in Ohio. 23. One day, I won't feel the need to escape, and I'll be content with where I am. 24. I do heroin. 25. I don't do heroin, but my aunt does. 26. I don't actually know if my aunt's done heroin, but she's done a lot of things. 27. My uncle doesn't do heroin, but he did die of an overdose of something. 28. He'd been clean for 6 months prior, and on the night of his, quote, overdose, my aunt mysteriously fled the state. 29. Now my cousin is on heroin. 30. My cousin has since broke free of heroin. 31. Now another of my cousins is on heroin. 32. That cousin was never actually on heroin, but when he was 14 years old, he did shoot his mom's crack dealer. He shot him in the spine with his dad's 20-gauge shotgun as the dealer drove away. He shot him because my aunt told him to, trying to teach the dealer a lesson, I guess. And the dealer called 911 and cried to the operator that he'd just been shot while selling clothes, according to the court transcript. While on the phone with 911, his steamy girlfriend leaned over and said to him, "Drop the pistol, baby." And the dealer let out a crack-addicted moan before crashing his Mercury Tracer into the ditch, foiling his attempt to escape. "33. Everyone is trying to escape Ohio. 34. But some people really like it here. And besides, others want to escape to Ohio. 35. Those people are escaping from Florida.
Sam Sharp grew up in the low hills of north central Ohio. He writes essays and stories about complicated relationships between people, places, and the animals who call them home. He recently earned his MFA in creative writing from the University of Wyoming, with a concurrent degree in environment and natural resources. You can read his work in Western Confluence Magazine, The Trek, Deep Wild Journal, and elsewhere. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more weird stories. If you like what you hear, subscribe, like, and review the show. And if you want your fiction or nonfiction to appear on Midwest Weird, send us your work. Read the show notes for a submission link. Thanks for joining us, and stay weird.